Okay, happy President's Day, or I guess not anymore because it's 12 a.m. actually. This is going to be a weekly recap from the 13th to the 17th of February, and it was, let me see, this is going to be the second week in a row that I'm trading, primarily listed stocks with a $20 risk level, and even though I ended up being profitable, 10 bucks, 78 cents, that was with $2,000 of dollar volume, so that's 0.5%. That's not really good. I have to do better than that. And I look forward to going over these trades to see what exactly I could do better one by one. Starting with the first trade, which is GNUS on the 13th. So let's look at GNUS on the 13th. Okay, I remember trading this one a very long time ago, and I happened to catch this one on the day that it was continuously selling off. It's not really normal for me to see something that is down on the day. I'm usually focused on things that are up on the day, but there was actually a glitch with my scanner, and I was able to see it show up, and I ended up trading this one, and it ended up working out, I believe. Let's highlight the day and part of pre-market. Why not, since it did sell off pre-market. I was in at 944 at 338, and this was a morning panic bounce play setup. So let's look at 944. 944 was right here, and I was in it at 338. So why morning panic bounce play? Was downtrending, and it can also show a trend line break. As you can see from something right here, where it even broke past it here and here, but then it sold off some more. And once it was at the point where it sold off here, and it did get under the downtrend trend line, but then it kind of broke past it and it started to trade a bit further away from it and longer than these two previous ones that failed. I did get in it with the idea that there could still be a chance that this thing is just going to sell off again and break the day low. But I liked it because I was in at 338 and I knew when to get out if it looks like it's going to break the day low, which is 331. When it comes to my risk level being the day low, I like to get out when it looks like it's going to break it, even if it doesn't, because in this case right here, you can see how, it breaks the day low, and that would have been, very fast sell off. It would have been very hard to cut losses quickly, at least, in theory in the future if I'm trading a much larger size. I did get out 948. My average was 352. So 948 was right here. 352 is when I got out my average, and let's see if I had any notes right here. It seems like I just did this one well, but with more experience, I can be in a situation where I can hold on to setups longer. I like how it did a higher low off of the low, and then this made a nicer move and it got above VWAP, but I'm guessing it has some kind of trend line like this. Yeah, if I had some kind of a trend line like this, I could have actually been in that situation where it would have broken it. But if I have more patience, I can make a higher low like it did right here, and I could still have like maybe a fifth of my position, and then I can get a better average selling once it gets to VWAP, or even more above VWAP if I were to draw maybe like another trend line in theory, right? Then I would have cut it right here, and that was right before the top. So yeah, clearly a lot of ways I can get better. Let's just see what would happen if I had an average at 367, which is VWAP. Because it is possible. Yeah, that would have brought it closer to a 10% gain, and yeah, 17 bucks compared to $8. That's a big difference, even with the size that I'm trading right now. Let's look at the next trade, which is AMST on the 14th. After I remove these. 14th is gonna be right here. So one of these on gap up days. And this is going to be the 14th. No, that's the 15th. This is the 14th. Right here, we'll show also some of the pre-market price action for now. I was in at 943 at, let's just say 68, and this was a VWAP plus range breakout towards high a day. So 943, probably zoom in some more actually. 943 was right here at 943 at 68. So I was in it right here. And the idea was is that it's up, it has good news and everything, and it did this thing where it kind of sells off and it got under it, but now it broke above VWAP, and it didn't just break VWAP, but it took the top of this range, the 66.55 level, also. So it not just did something where it eventually gained itself above VWAP, it also broke the top of the range when it was still struggling with VWAP, and that's why I was in it at the not so perfect entry at 68. I did get out of this one 945. My average was 71, so 945 was right here, 70-ish right here. Not bad. Yeah, 70, almost 71. No, actually no, because that will just bring it to a 2. Is there any notes here? No, nothing really. Yeah, it didn't really work too much, but it did make a move towards the upside. And I'm guessing with the way I say it's in my notes, I just got out of this one when it was looking like it was going to break this trend line right here, I guess. Or at least that's how I should have traded it. Yeah, it just didn't really work that much. I mean, best case scenario could have went to the day high and that would have been even more profitable, but that's totally fine. Let's look at OCUL on the 14th. And the 14th is here. This one actually is still holding near its highs. And the 14th is going to be this day right here. I was in at 948 at 562. And this was a high a day breakout. So 948. Oh yeah, this one got me. 948 here at 562. I got in because it was breaking above the day high of 561 or 560. And the idea is that it can continue to uptrend and make a move towards the upside. Not really close to the morning, but still, plenty of potential for it to do a move, which it did do. I got out at 949 exactly at 556 and a half. 949 was right here at 556 and a half, so right at the very bottom. And what happened was is that this stock, as you can tell, is wicky. It has a wick here and it has a wick right here. And because I was trading it for a high day breakout and I was not very confident or comfortable in the setup, what I did was that I had my risk level being the breakout. So I just figured, all right, it's above the breakout. If it gets under it, I'm getting out. And what happened was is that I didn't have the right risk level for the stock because it's wicky. So what happens is that it made a move under the breakout level and I got out, and then eventually sorted itself out and it uptrended. And whenever a stock can be very exponential like this, I need to make my risk level lower from my entry, and then I can be able to, in theory, be more patient and perhaps have less size, but be a part of a move towards the upside like this one did right here. If I were to have been a part of it, hindsight 2020, let's see what would have happened if maybe it had a trend line right here, though this one would have been very gradual. Let's see a sell at 576, what that would have been. Yeah, didn't really work all that much, but I was still in a situation where I could have been profitable from it. And that's definitely a good lesson I had right here with this trade, with this stock. I need to have proper risk levels on stocks, especially if they have wicks like it did right here, giving it some kind of a sign that it might not be perfect on the way up. Let's look at IREN on the 14th. Right here. Pretty impressive because it did manage to break above this round number of 250 for a little bit. And let's go to the 15th, which should be here, which is just uptrended the entire day. I was in at, oh, actually, no, that was the 14th. This is the right day right here. Wait, no, actually, that was the right day. Why did it say the 14th? Okay, yeah, I got it right. For some reason, I just thought this was the 15th. I don't know, something there just kind of threw me off. I was in at 10:15 at 271, and this was a dip under VWAP. So in the voice crack, 1015 was right here. Yeah, this one didn't work out. At 271. So in theory, super nice uptrend, and then it has like a dip under VWAP, and in theory, it could regain itself above VWAP, try to retest the day high, and continue the uptrend over a longer period of time. And I did get out 1021 at 274, 24. So I actually got out of this one a little profitably at 1021. So I got out of it, and what happened was is that it never broke this range low, at least when I got out. But I didn't like how it was taking so long for this thing to turn around. You can see how I had this little dip here, then it started to work right after, this little dip here, and it started to work. And this was just taking too much time. And then I really didn't like how I had an uptrend towards VWAP, and it just sold all the way back with this volume. So it just made me feel like it's not going to be strong enough to do it, or that if it keeps trying, it's just not going to do it because there are just too many sellers. So I got out of it for that reason, and I think that was fine, even though it didn't break my risk level until later. And when it did, it just sold off. So that's just something I guess you get with experience over time, where maybe you don't sell, because of the fact that, um, you know, you don't sell it, but you see something very sketchy with it that makes you sell it for a good reason, and it actually made sense in this situation right here. Let's look at the next one, which is OCUL again on the 15th. Right here is the 15th, so a nice break above the round number of $6. At least in theory, it didn't really, continue to do that much more. I was in at 932 at 611, and this was a double high a day breakout. So 932, 611. 932 was right here, and I got in at 611. Why? It broke the previous day high, which was roughly $6, and then the day before that. So it was like a double high day breakout. The very top of the wick, and then this one closed near its high around that $6 level. And I got in it right in the morning when it was looking like it was going to break above the $6 range, which it did, as you can see. I actually tried to get in at 606, but I wasn't filled, and then I used a market order, and I did get in at 611. I got out the same minute at 617 and a half, because this one was just super sketchy and scary. Not actually sketchy, just scary the way it uptrended so fast, because it made me feel like if it's going to uptrend as fast as it is right here, is also going to potentially sell off as fast as it did, which it actually sold off slower, but this was very scary, and this was close, man. I felt like it could have been a part of a halt for the first time, at least profitably. I don't want to be in a halt unprofitably. It could have done it, but it was just, I guess not fast enough, I guess, but it did uptrend very quickly there. And that was a quick in and out. And in theory, let's just see what an entry at 606 would have been, because I could have actually have gotten that if maybe I used a market order. Yeah, not a huge difference. It seems like I did have the right amount of size and everything. That's just something I could benefit much more from when I do trade larger, God willing. Let's look at SERA on the 15th. All right, another interesting one right here. The first green day, gap up. Good news, probably. Ideally not a chat pump, because those never really work out over a longer period of time, unless it just becomes a short squeeze. I was in at 939 at, let's just say 203, and this was a dip under VWAP. So 939 was right here at this $2.03 level. So 939 at 203. I was in it right here. Why? I guess, with the gap up and everything, although this one kind of trades a bit ugly, it had a dip under VWAP, and I guess I was in it because it looked like it was just going to be a brief drop under VWAP, and it would immediately regain itself and then continue the uptrend and ideally break the day high and be a nice morning spike. I got out the next minutes at 2036, so not very much more at 940, which was this candle right here. Let's just see why I got out, just because I wasn't comfortable with it. Alright, so yeah, essentially this setup hasn't really been working that much. And this was, I believe, a biotech. And I just felt really uncomfortable with it, so I got out of it. Yeah, that seems to be it. And this one did sell off. And I didn't have the right size either. I should have had 100 shares, because that would have made it a $20 risk level roughly. So yeah, it was just a setup I got in and out of because I didn't feel comfortable with it. And yeah, that's something towards the end of the week I started to get better at. I try not to trade stuff like this unless it actually breaks VWAP above it, or if it breaks the day high, and ideally not a biotech. So this one just had all the potential signs that it wanted to work out. Let's look at VLON on the 15th. Right here. So yeah, it had its first green day. That actually wasn't much of a gap up, but it is trying to hold itself together. Lots of volatility with those wicks. Here is the 15th. Super impressive morning spike looking thing. I was in at 10:03 at 94, and this was a bull flag towards VWAP. Very technical setup. Let's look at 10:03, which was right here. Actually, right here, 10:03 at I believe, what was it, 93, 94. So 10:03 was right here at 94. So the idea was is that I had a super nice morning spike, and then it could be a bull flag and then hold above VWAP because it's that strong, and then it could turn around, try to break the day high. Not really the best for a bull flag. It doesn't really look like a bull flag. You know, it looks nice on the way up, but on the way down, the candles are supposed to be more consistent than this. And this was just probably me being very greedy and excited to jump in a bunch of trades, and this one didn't work out. I should have been more patient. I got out the next minute at 91.9, so let's just say 92 at 10:04. So I did sell 10:04 because it looked like it was going to break the day low, and I got out roughly at 92, and it was a good call. Again, this is why I stick to the rule of, if it looks like it's going to break, I guess naturally in this case because it wasn't the day low, but yeah, this was a situation where I got out of it before it broke the day, or like I'm saying, not the day low, but my risk level, because it did have a big sell-off candle here. Yeah, just got in and out of it because, you know, it was a very technical setup, and yeah, and it looks like it was gonna break the risk level. Okay. Um, I guess it worked out in that favor, but I should probably try not to do that too much, because I think there was a trade I had later where it didn't break my risk level, and it wasn't the day low, I think, and then it did work out, but I sold because it just looked scary. Let's look at NEXI on the 16th. Right here, another gap up day, but not too nice, at least over the entire day. I was in at 933 at 73, and this was VWAP breakout towards high a day. So let's look at 933 right here. 933 at this point right here, 73, and I got in it because it did break above VWAP after I had a dip under it, and then it was making a move towards the day high, which was 75.7, and then it could ideally, with the momentum of it being above VWAP and then heading towards the day high of breakouts, or at least some move towards the high day, and we did get a breakout above it, and it got as high as 81. I got out the next minute at 934. My average was 76, so 934 was right here. This candle at 76 is when I sold, and my average ended up being It did get as high as 81. Let's look at my notes. I did not trade this one well, at least I didn't feel like I did. Yeah, very sketchy because this was a biotech, it seems like. I didn't have the right amount of size. Should have had maybe 200 shares. That would have just brought it under the risk level of $20. Definitely didn't have the right amount of size. And I didn't wait for a trend line. So in theory, what I could have done differently here was that I got in the setup and everything, but I could have had an uptrending trend line. And if I did it, probably off of here is the way I would have done it. You know, I wouldn't have sold until it broke it here, and then I would have had it sell roughly around the same point, 76, but I would have given myself more chance all of 935 and the later part of 934 to sell in the 80s. I think when I sold at 76, at this point, it didn't make a move towards the 80s. It did it after I sold. And if I had a trend line, even though this one was scary and wicky, I would have had the potential to sell much higher and have been much more profitable. And then when it broke the trend line, as you can see here, the very bottom was 75. So I would have given myself a chance to sell better. And then worst case, if I sell at 75, it's just 1 penny off from my average. It would have been better if I did that, and it would have been according to my rules. So that's the thing I could have done better with this setup. I could have made much more. Let's see what a sell at. Let's just say 78.6 would have been, because that's possible. Because it did reach the 80-cent level and reject it multiple times. So that could have been a sign that that was a ceiling. Of course, hindsight 2020. And then I would have maybe considered some very high sells up there. Yeah, it would have helped a little bit. You know, it would have helped for sure, especially again if I keep getting better and I'm trading much more size, like 1,000 shares, which might not even be that much, right? And then the difference from 29 to 52 is a lot more, and that's still not even trading that much size. I mean, the average day trader can easily trade a $10,000 position, which, yeah, would have been 10,000 shares. And then that would have been a huge difference from this case 78 cents to, yeah, 76. Big difference. So, yeah, that's a good lesson with that. I think that's the way it used to be. Yep. Let's look at the next one, AM on the 16th. 16th is going to be here. Looks like I already have a trend line. Great. I don't have to draw them. They're going to stay there until I'm done going over the trade. I was in at 11. Okay, this is one that I held for a really long time. And I didn't trade a $20 risk level because this is a setup. I don't really trade all that much. I was just practicing. Didn't work out here, but there were opportunities with other stocks this week. I was in at 11.12 at 271.5, and this was 11 a.m. reversal, first green day. So let's look at 11.12. 11.12 is going to be right here at the very tippy top at 271.5. So I got in this because I had a super nice uptrend and all. Another dip under VWAP setup that didn't work, by the way. And it started to sell off, and I drew this trend line. And I like how it was following it, and then it broke past it. And then it sold off some more, but it didn't get back under the trend line. And then once it put up like a higher low right here, or at least a double bottom, it was a potential that it could turn around, and it did in theory turn around a little. I mean, if you want to be precise, 260 to 270, but it didn't offer that much opportunity. It didn't get to VWAP or above VWAP, and you know, when it looked like it was working, I had a bit of a chase, admittedly, right here at 271.5, and my risk level was the very bottom of this range, which was a good risk level, 254. I got out 1142 at 265. 1142 was right here. at 265. I guess it might have been, was it really 11:42? Might have the wrong time right there. I'll have to check back, but I got out at 265. I'm gonna guess my actual sell was right here at 265. At 11:48. That makes a bit more sense. Sometimes Schwab doesn't give the right time. I'm just gonna put 11:48. If I cannot put an emoji there. What happened was is that my risk was the bottom right here at 254, but once it was starting to work and actually prove itself, and it did that double bottom, it was making a move towards the upside. So my risk level now moved from the bottom of the range to the trend line, because I felt like if it was going to break this uptrending trend line that it started to follow, I just feel like the chances for it working was going to drop a lot more. So I did get out of this one when it did break the trend line and then some, which was 265. It almost looked like an inverse head and shoulders here. Shoulder, head, and then a shoulder. So it could have actually made one, because it looks like an uptrending inverse head and shoulders. It just didn't get to VWAP, and I don't think it did. It did get close to, but it never got above VWAP. And it actually continued to move the next day, but yeah, not the best looking candle, I'll tell you what. Let's remove these now. Wow, my voice is about to die. Oh gosh. Let's look at this one, IBIO. Right? Yeah, let's look at IBIO. 3 trades on the 17th. Right here. So another one of these gap updates. And another voice crack. I was in at 941 at 150, and this was a morning move. Okay, I don't like these. Yeah. I need to stop doing setups like this. 941, 150, morning move towards VWAP breakout. So 941, 150. Right here, 941, 150 right here. I got in it. Why? Because, well, VWAP is way up here now, but at the time, VWAP was like right here, I believe, at 152, and I got in it because it broke under it a few times, and then it looked like it was going to immediately get back above VWAP and uptrend and break past it and be a nice morning spike and all that. It didn't do it. It sold off, and then my risk level was a day low, and it actually held on to it. Yeah, I got out of this one 943 at 145.3, so I got out of it right here when it looked like it was going to break the day low, and it didn't. And this one would have been very iffy, but it never did break the day low. And I wouldn't have faulted myself too much if I were to have sold when it looked like it was, and then it never does, and it actually works out, because this doesn't happen all that much. And I actually was interested in it when it looked like it was super close to the day low, so I figured I could take like a cheeky entry at 144, and then my risk is just, 144 breaking. So then it wouldn't be something where I would probably lose that much, but I didn't take it because, it could also just break the day low and flash a big red candle. And then once it actually was making a move above VWAP, I did trade that. The VWAP breakout, 949, I was in at 152. So 949 at 152. Once it actually broke above VWAP, which again, it's up here, but when I was trading it, it was down there around that 152 level. I was in it for that reason, for that breakout, and then I got out the next minute. About the same price, 950. And as you can see, it had like a little stutter right here before it started to work, so that really sucked. And this one doesn't really show itself a big sign that it's a wiki stock, but my risk was just a breakout level, which was VWAP. So once I got under it, I got out, but it actually did work out, so I think that's fine. All right, last trade. My voice is suffering. I was in at 1012 at 156, and this was a dip under VWAP. This setup has not worked. I think, did it ever work? This one kind of worked. Kind of worked. I probably should stop trading that. That setup just doesn't work. That's a great thing, reason why you should have like your trading journal to look after. It's just that setup did not work. All right, let's look at 1012. So it's right here, 150, roughly 156. And yeah, it never got to VWAP, never got above it. It just had a little stutter and it continued to sell off. I got out 1014 at 156. So a slight profit right here at 156. And I think I had a trend line and this one just broke it very quickly. Right? And I think I even gave it a chance with this candle already breaking it. And then I probably saw something here in that red candle that I didn't like and it just sold off. Yeah, I mean, this was an official open. I might have actually have just held on to it until it opened a new candle under the trend line and then I got out. And yeah, it didn't work out. It did sell off right there. Yep, that was it. That's it for this weekly recap. We'll look forward to rewatching it because it is one thing to record it and another thing to actually watch it. That's it. I need to just be better with my risk levels, have proper risk levels, especially if a stock is wiki. If it's like the day low, I don't mind getting out. If it looks like it's gonna break it, even if it doesn't, like it did right here with IBIO. I need to stop doing dip under VWAP setups, or at least be more hesitant. Maybe actually trade it when it breaks above it. So then there's a higher chance that it will continue to work because it's different from the other ones that don't work out, which seems to be common. Yeah, that's it for this weekly recap right here. Plenty of good lessons.